Okay, so once again, you are most welcome. My name is Mutanda Samir. Now, this time around, please, we are still continuing with our series. Again, we are on to item 2 of our Waukesha Mathematics 2025. Look into it. You want to see what did they really set in here. Okay, good. Now, please, a simple reminder is that as far as item 2 is concerned, we always have it in section A, which is very, very compulsory. Okay, good. So, with that, you want to look into what they really set in here, and maybe possibly we provide solutions or responses to write the required items. So without wasting time, I think let's get there. Please, we remind you to subscribe to the channel. Then also there is something which is going to come up on later. Of course, if any channel has over 1,000 subscribers, then please, it means that somehow, somewhere, for whoever has not subscribed yet to the channel, please, you may be caught offside. What I'm meaning is, if you're already subscribed, there is some, okay, there is a how I'll do it in a way that for whoever has not subscribed cannot be able to watch videos on this channel. So please, but anyway, I can't do that when some haven't warned my people yet. So please, I kindly request you to subscribe such that when that time comes, you don't miss out. That time is going to come when whoever has not subscribed will not be able to see the videos on this channel. So to be on the safe side, please take time and subscribe. Alright, because I don't want anyone to miss anyway. But of course, you need to subscribe. Yeah, anyway. I'm sorry if that has really offended anyone, but that's the way to go. And it's from YouTube. They give us liberty to at least limit the number of people who can watch the channel. And of course, I cannot limit those who have not yet subscribed. I can't limit whoever has subscribed. And if you have already subscribed, well and good. Alright, let's proceed. So please don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe such that when that time comes, you are not caught offside. Alright. Okay, now we simply remind you to subscribe again to the channel where need be. You can also share, like, and also comment if you share, like, and also comment. That's where we are. Without wasting time, let's look into this item 2 of Aitel 2025. Let's get there. Okay, it's a short one by the way, not really length there. So let's follow on here. They're saying Mr. Khisa Jackson has a 120 million on his account. He wants to use his savings on the account to construct single and double rooms. For rentals, from which he plans to collect a minimum of shillings 540,000 monthly. He intends to charge a rent of 90,000 monthly from each double room and shillings 60,000 monthly from each single room. He wants less than 6 double room. There's a comma. He also wants to construct at most twice as many single rooms as double rooms. It will cost him 12 millions to construct each double room and shillings 10 millions to construct each single room. Okay. Mr. Khisa Jackson is not sure of his maximum monthly rent income. Let's move on. They're saying, okay, maybe they've just gotten how far Mr. Khisa had reached with his construction. Yeah. And according to what I'm seeing, I think this will be double rooms and this will be single rooms. Yeah, of course, the way specified down here, double rooms and single rooms. Okay, we move. They're saying, task. With the help of a Cartesian plane, it is meant to be Cartesian plane. There must be an E here, by the way. There must be an E here. It's a plane. It's a Cartesian plane. Okay, there must be an E there. Advise Mr. Khisa, it's meant to be Khsisa, some SI there, Mr. Khisa, on how to maximize monthly rent income. Rent income. Now, with what I've said, let's go back to the question and make some quick analysis about it very, very fast. And we see the way forward. Okay, so it means that now we need to know we need to come up. In fact, you should be very keen. Of course, if you can check on the theme, all areas of construct as far as item 2 is concerned. By this, it's very crucial to know that both as a learner or a teacher, it's very good to know the areas of construct, like on which item, which topics are they do they set on which item. Item 1 has got specific topics, item 2 has got specific topics. And please, if you happen not to have that, at the end of this video, I'm going to put for you a video explaining how math is set. In fact, I'm going to put for a playlist, so you will choose to, or you'll have to go in there and take time to at least have that watched. Now, let's go deep into this. Now, what must you know is that we have, this man has 120 millions, all right, then somewhere we have, there's that word less than. Are you able to see that? There's that word at most. Okay, then are you also able to see that we have this, a word minimum. I know with all these words you are seeing in here, I've already highlighted them for you. Minimum, at most, less than. You are already thinking about something, of course, not exceeding LOP, which some people call linear programming. Of course, with those words you can really tell that this is linear programming. And of course, from the analysis you realize that, please, as far as linear programming is concerned, UNEB last year item 2 was also on linear programming. And then also Aitel had it again. Aitel this year 2025 had to set it again under linear, had to set linear programming on item 2. Of course, who knows? Now, we are going to now break down this question here. Of course, in every question of linear programming, you must look out for those two things they're talking about. So this man is going to do what? Construct single rooms and double rooms. Then also in the question here, they're saying, let's get here. Let's a pen. Okay, they're saying in the question, with the help of a Cartesian plane, advise Mr. Khsisa on how to maximize monthly rent income. Now, what are they renting? They're renting double rooms and single rooms. So it means that the major two things they're talking about in this question is the single rooms and double rooms. Then of course you know that a Cartesian plane must have the x-axis and y-axis. So you must come out and tell us, what do you think the x should be? Okay, what do you think the y should be? Okay, now you choose on that. So what do you think the x should be and what do you think the y should be? Now you choose either to call single rooms to be x and double rooms to be y. Okay, now as far as this question is concerned, for our case, let's take x to be single rooms. Okay, let's take x to be single. Okay, let's take x to be single rooms. Then let's take y to be double rooms. Please allow me that whenever we shall be seeing double rooms, we shall be putting y. Then also, what you must know, please, I always advise you to draw this kind of a table. I always advise you, whenever dealing with linear programming, to draw this kind of a table. And besides, you must be knowing which words do we use to mean which inequality. Of course, you must be knowing which words do we use to mean which inequality. Now here, I'll talk about the items. The items, this is what I prefer using, items. Now the items in here should be those two things you're talking about in the question. Should be those two things you're talking about in the question. Now the items here should be, like say for example, we shall say single rooms. Allow me to write the word single to mean single rooms. Or anyway, let me just have it completed. Single rooms, that's the item. Then also have double rooms. That's the second item. Then also total. This is how you must always draw your table whenever dealing with the number of linear programming. This table is very crucial. Then shall comment and see. Now, if you know we have the single rooms which are more like letter X and double rooms which are more like letter Y, then total. Let's now go and check onto this. Now, since you have, of course, you have X here, allow me raise off this one up such that you don't get lost or confused in the long run. Okay, I'll raise off this. Now, what are we going to have afterwards? So realize that here, I'm trying to raise off this. Now let's try to break down this slowly. Allow me to use the pen ink. Now you realize that they're saying Jackson has 120 millions on his account. He wants to use it, to use his savings on the account to construct. So it means that amount you're having there, this man is going to use it to construct. So Allow me right here construction. Allow me right here construction. Now, if the man has 120 million, just know that is the total. The man has 120 million, just know that is the total. So, and the word has, if just know that the word has means what in inequality? The word has means less than or equal, if you can really see that. So, he has 120 million, so therefore, this will be total, under total, I'm writing under total, which is 120 millions. For what? This man is going to use that amount of money for construction. So I have construct there as we are following on. Now the word has means less than or equal. Allow me put that. Now let's explain this. Why does the word has means less than or equal? Like say for example, here you are. Maybe you have 1,000 in the pocket. If you have 1,000 in the pocket, it means that the money you have is equal to 1,000. But what if when you have that 1,000 and accidentally maybe that 1,000 you drop it somewhere, accidentally drop it somewhere? What will remain in your pocket is 0. But remember 0 is less than 1,000. So therefore, it can either be that 1,000 or less than that. So that's why we use less than or equal. Alright, good. We proceed. They're saying, let me come back to my red ink. I think it is a bit visible. So, okay. Now they're saying to construct the single and double rooms for rentals from which he plans to collect a minimum of 540,000. So now I think this time around is collecting some cash. So here shall say collection. Maybe after constructing he plans to collect some money there and a minimum. Now what does the word minimum mean? Please, what does the word minimum mean? The word minimum means to the smallest it is that. So the word minimum means greater than or equal. So a minimum greater than or equal to how much? A 540,000. I'm getting this summarized here such that we can all be on the same page. A 540,000. Okay, monthly, right? Then it's he intends to charge rent of 90,000 monthly from each double room. So it means that if he's charging, remember, once you collect, it means you have already charged. So this what he charges is what he collects. So if he charges 90,000, he will collect 90,000 at the end. So it comes to this. So he collects 90,000 shillings for a double room. But where is double room? Double room is here. So in this area here, 90,000, like that. But it's for what? Double room. So you attach a what? You attach a word. Next, what are they saying? They're saying, and 60,000 shillings monthly from each single room. So he's charging 60,000 shillings monthly for each single room. I'm attaching X like that. Now guess what? We have an equation complete. You have this. We have formulated an equation there. The next, let's proceed. They're saying he wants less than 60 double rooms. So he wants less than 6 double rooms. Less than 6 double rooms. Double rooms are which letter? Y. Less than 6. Less means that inequality. Less than 6 you have that. So you have that is our first equation already. Next they are saying he also wants to construct at most twice. This is where the logic is. At most twice as many single rooms as double rooms. As many single rooms as double rooms. So at most twice as many single rooms as double rooms. Now what are we going to do here? Now whenever they have the word as, we want to collect at most twice as many single rooms as double rooms. So shall I say X equals to Y. Remember X is the single rooms and Y is double rooms. So they're saying he wants to construct at most twice as many single rooms as double rooms. So as means equal sign. So at most twice as many single rooms as double rooms, meaning that he wants to correct the single rooms he's constructing must be 2 times the double rooms. So that's how it must appear like that. So it must be X equals, not even equal, but the word at most means less than or equal. So that would imply that this will be X less than or equal to 2Y in simple terms. I hope that really makes some bit of sense. It's a bit technical when it comes to this, by the way. You have to be a bit steady when it comes to those logical problems there. As many single rooms as double rooms. At most twice as many single rooms as double rooms. So it means that he wants to make the double rooms to be very many compared to single rooms. Okay, we move. Now they're saying, so you have analyzed, you have this equation here, you have another equation right here. Then lastly, they are saying it will cost him 12 million to construct. Now I think it construct, but we have our column for construction is right here. It will cost him shillings 12 million to construct each double room. Now construction of a double room is 12 millions right there, like this, and 6 zeros. Okay, right there. The next 10 million and 10, okay, it's meant to be million right here. SP please. 10 million to construct each single room. So a single room is 10 million Uganda shillings. Okay, there we are. Mr. Khisa Jackson is not sure. Now we have finished everything almost. Now which ones will be our equations? Guess what? When you add this plus this gives you one equation. So that will be the 10 million, if you can really see here, 10 million x plus 12 million y, okay, less than or equal to 120 millions. That will be another equation like that. Then also when you add this plus this less than or equal to that, it will give us greater than or equal to that, will give us that amount. And now without wasting time, I think let's go and get this right there. So let's go there and see how it comes about. Okay, since I've already explained how it comes about, let's go there. So you begin by first of all formulating inequalities. Now with this we shall begin by letting, we say, let the single rooms be x, then also on the other hand let the double rooms be y. And with that, let's get our table drawn where we shall substitute. I've already explained how that table comes about. Please. So all we are going to do is simply to substitute in there, and we get everything done right away. Okay, good. So without wasting time, let's see the way forward. So that table I've already explained how it comes about. And so however, I'll change a little bit. So right there we have items, next I have charge, and lastly we have what we call construction cost. Yeah, I've twisted it a little bit. Now you all remember, one of the items we had was single rooms, another item was double rooms, and finally we had the total right there. Then somewhere we had that as far as the charge, each single room the charge is Khisa thousands. Anyway, the total, like from the very start, you remember that we first had this. The total for construction was 120 million. So the money has, so it will be that inequality right there. Okay, the total also for the total charge in both single and double rooms monthly is also this, and it was greater than or equal to that. All right, good. And now let's see the way forward. We also had 90,000 for double room and had 60,000 for single room construction. Now we are formulating an equation. As far as this is concerned, when you add this plus this, then this inequality here, because they say the minimum means greater than or equal to. So therefore, it will be 60,000 x, which you have right here, plus 90,000 y, which you have right here. Okay, it is greater than or equal to 540. Of course, you know why this inequality is coming about. It's because of the word minimum. Okay, having reached there, now remember the zeros are very many, so you can go by reducing these zeros here by simply dividing it by 10,000s, by dividing all through by 10,000s, by dividing all through by 10,000s. That will kill away almost all the zeros like that, hence giving us that. Okay, now we are calling that our equation number 1. 6x plus 9y greater than or equal to 54. That is our equation number 1. Now let's come and get this completed. But then remember, somewhere they say that okay, he wants to construct less than 60 double rooms. So that's the implication. I already commented on it. Double rooms are y, so he wants to construct less than 6 double rooms. We have this is the less than inequality symbol, like that. Then next, the other part is, let's get the other parts completed. To construct, in fact, here he wants to construct here. This was the logical part. This one here is the one coming from this area here. That I've explained, but maybe we need to at least look into this more and more and more. So you have that he wants to construct at most twice as many single rooms as double rooms. That's what we are meaning by x less than or equal to 2y. It is a logical problem and it's a bit technical. You must at least be keen as far as that is concerned. But if they're using, maybe the simple trick I can give you is that, if they're using the word as, then again as, you see? I see. Now, let's go by with the first one mentioned. As many single rooms. The first one is single rooms. So the first mentioned is single rooms, which is x. Okay. The mentioned single room, which is x. The next is what? As double rooms, you can put your y right there. So that's how the arrangement should be. Now, what you do always, this twice here means times 2. You put it on the last thing you have put right there. Then you come and put the inequality right in the middle, which corresponds to that word at most. On another day, you can even use the word at least. So at most will be x less than or equal to y. I've at least tried to get that simplified. And then it's what we have right here. Okay, we have it right there. So far we have how many equations? 3 good equations. Okay. 3 good equations. Now, the last equation will be from this and that. Of course, to construct a double room, we needed 12 millions. And also to construct a single room, we needed 10 millions. Of course, when you get this added plus this, then of course remember the inequality here was less than or equal to. If they use the word has, then you can use that inequality there right away. Now, let's get that equation down here. So you have that 10 million x plus 12 million y gives us 120 millions. Of course, here you divide by what? We aim at killing the zeros. So you divide by, allow me to use this area. You divide by 1 million, I guess. Divide by 1 million, also divide by 1 million. Over to 1 million, we kill away all these zeros. We'll kill away all these zeros. Kill away all these zeros, and finally shall have this. If the zeros are all killed away, what are we going to have finally? Finally shall have that. Of course, say that here we remain with 10, which I have right there. Here we remain with the 12, which I have right there. Here we remain with 120, which I have right there. Take note of the inequality. It is less than or equal to. Okay. Now great, that's our equation 4. But of course, by default, if this man is very serious and wants to construct, just know that he will construct a single room and also a must construct a double room. Therefore, always whenever dealing with inequality numbers, you must put these inequalities here. They are always a must. These ones are always a must regardless of the number you're handling. Always put them forward. Always put them forward. Okay. And with that, let's get them here. Okay, so we have 6 good equations. But remember, we must now put these equations here on a Cartesian plane. On a Cartesian plane, these equations here on a Cartesian plane are just like, you know, linear programming. And I hope as a teacher or student, you must have covered this topic already by now. So we are simply in revision, I guess. Alright, so let's proceed. Now, next we have to construct or draw a graph showing all those inequalities on there. So let's have our table again here to at least get the coordinates which we shall use to get all these things here plotted. Let's get the coordinates which we shall use to get the things here plotted. Alright, so okay, let's get our table done so that we can get this completed. Okay, so with that, in our table we're going to begin with first of all inequality. Then next we're going to have boundary line, and then lastly we're going to have coordinates. Now to begin with, if you shall begin with that inequality there, that equation, we are picking equations we have right up from the other side. And then if a boundary line, simply you do this. A boundary line, you only change this. In that place you put an equal sign, just like we have right there. That's what I mean by boundary line. You really need this, that. Okay, now next let's proceed. We have that, and the boundary line will be that. We have that line, the boundary line will be that. We have that, and the boundary line will be that. And then that, and boundary lines will be like that. So boundary line, we simply change this into an equal sign. Change this into an equal, regardless of the nature, whether it is greater than or equal or less than or equal, we still convert that or change that into an equal sign in simple terms. Now what do we need? We need coordinates, but coordinates are only got when we have when you have two variables. You only find coordinates when you have two variables. What am I meaning? Like say for example, we have variable x here and variable y here. So we need coordinates for this, which we shall put right in this position. And now to get the coordinates, please, I prefer using the intercept method. I prefer using the intercept method. So I'm going to use the intercept method in order to come up with the coordinates right here. And please, you must be very attentive here. I'm only going to use this formula here, rather this equation, get its coordinates, then the rest use the same approach. So I'll just be quoting the coordinates right away. So you have to be on board such that you really know what is going to happen here. And please, when you go under the playlist, you see a revision mathematics. We have it in the playlist. We have very many questions as far as linear programming is concerned. So you go there and watch more such that you get so many learning points in there. So let's start with, we want to find the coordinates for the line. This one here, we want to find its coordinates. And please, I've said I'm only finding for this one, the rest I'll just have quote. So finally, we begin by saying when x is equal to 0, so it means that in the place of x here, you're going to put a 0. So there we shall say, so x times 6 times 0 plus we have a 9y equals to 54. Of course, all here will just be 0. So therefore, 9y will be equal to 54. But we want the value of y. What are we going to do? What are we going to do to get the value of y? We shall simply divide both sides by 9. And then we shall have that in fraction format. Dividing both sides by 9, this dies away. 9 divided by 54, how much will you get? I think it will be a 6. Then right there we shall have that y is equal to 6. But we want to report a coordinate, but coordinates are reported in the format of x comma y, if you can really see that. So okay, so x comma y, now we have to report the coordinate. The x value is what? The x value here is, okay, allow me use this. The x value here is 0 and the y value here is what? 6. So our coordinate will be in that format, 0, 6, just like I explained. Now shall have to put this value of ours right there. So we have it right there as 0, 6. Let's now move on. Now in the very first place, if you began with when x is equal to 0, on the other side you now start off with when y equals to 0, so that you can get the other counterpart also. So now you realize that alright, so when we're still using that very equation, remember just like we had it right here, I'm repeating right here. The next part is about when. So also when y is equal to 0, okay, substitute. So you're going to put a 0 right here. So 9 times 0 will be a 0. So shall have 6x is equal to 54, like that. Now we need to divide both sides by 6. Dividing both sides by 6, what are we going to have here? Dividing both sides by 6, what are we going to have here? So dividing both sides by 6, you find that the 6 will cancel away, then we shall remain with the x. X is equal to a 54 divided by 6, you get a 9. But after the coordinates are written in the form of x comma y, which will now be x value first, which is a 9, comma y value, which is a 0, like that. Then we shall report that coordinate right here. So let's have it. So 9 is 0, and then up we shall have it as 9 is 0 also. So 2 pairs are enough for you to get that line plotted. Okay, now having done that, what does it mean? You must also know that whenever an inequality is like this, or an inequality is like, sorry, let me resolve this. So you must also know that whenever an inequality is like that, or an inequality is like this, please here we simply use a solid line like that. Then whenever an inequality is like this, or an inequality is like that, we simply use dotted lines, if you can really see that. And now let's have that. So that is a solid line. Why we say that it's going to be a solid line is because of this, which he now says that it will be a solid line from this explanation. Once they are less than or equal, greater than or equal, so long as it has that stuff or equal, solid line. If it has that word not equal, then it will be a dotted line. So automatically just guess this one will be a dotted line. So shall I say? Alright, now just like I've used this equation to find the coordinates, please use the same approach to come up with the coordinates for this. So the coordinates for this one will be that and also that. Please use the same approach, the same method to get those coordinates there, because I didn't want our video to be very, very lengthy. Hope that makes some sense. Then what's the nature of that line? The solid line. Why is solid? Is because it has that right there. The next we shall have a solid line. Y is equal to 0 is a solid line, or the line y is equal to 0. Allow me to raise up this. You all know that the line y equal to 0 is the same as the x-axis, and the line y equal to 0, x is equal to 0 is the same as the y-axis. Take that from me today. Okay, now here we shall have this one here, also solid line. I've explained. Now I have x is equal to 2. Still here also you can use the same approach, that when I have x equals to 2y, at first when x equals to 0, substitute 0 will be equal to 2y. So dividing by 2, our y will be what? 0. So the coordinate will be what? 0, 0. Why? The x is 0 and even the y is 0. So it means that since you have the answer as y is equal to 0, don't again come back and say when y is equal to 0. So you can use another value. Maybe since you use the x equal to 0 and give us 0, you can now say when x, or we can say when y equals to 1, substitute. So x is equal to a 2 times 1, and then your x will be a 2. So therefore coordinates will be 2, 1. So 0, 0 and 2, 1. Let's get that. Good. Now what we're going to do, let's get this plotted. Okay, maybe just put the solid lines and so on. So this one will be dotted. Why dotted is because it doesn't have anything to do with equal. Now you ask why I'm not finding coordinates. Yes, because here we have only one variable, only value of y. Here there are 2, that's why I got coordinates. Here there are 2, that's why we have coordinates. Here also there are 2, that's why we have coordinates. It's only 1, no coordinates, like that. So with that, let's also get this covered. Simply. Okay, now you really see that here these are the things you're going to plot in here. So you're going to plot this, do a solid line and we do the shading, plot this, do a solid line and do the shading, like that, and so on. So we're going to begin with this, but first of all, let's go and see how our graph is drawn. First of all, let's go there. So you need to do a graph, demarcate. Okay, we move. So let's get our graph drawn. Please, this will be our last thing. Don't look at it. You're just going to have it as the last thing, to be our last stuff. So let's look at our graph, how it is being demarcated. You must also be doing the same. Please learn how to demarcate. Demarcating are those lines you are putting right there on our graph. We call it demarcating, and putting the numbers right there. About a scale, you know what to do. Please, I know by now if you are the senior 4, you know how to deal with the scale as usual or in the normal way. Okay, so we have everything done as far as our graph is concerned. Now what are we going to plot? Remember, I'll remind you that for the line 6x plus 9y equals to 54. We had these coordinates here. We had the coordinate 0, 6, just reminding you. Then we had the coordinate 9, 0. This is 9. Okay, now let's get this plotted. So let's begin with 0, 6. We plot it on the graph. So you have the x-axis and y-axis. Y-axis is right there. Now 0, 6. Now you already see that our 0, 6 is right here. We have plotted it right there. That purple dot, you can really see it here. So 0, 6. Then 9, 0. Plotting 9, 0, it's right here. Please just narrow the table. Here it is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. We have a 5 right there. 6, we have a 7 right here. 8, we have a 9. So 9, 0, we have it right there. Then next, we're going to do there a line. But a line is going to be what? It's going to be a solid line. So let's draw our line right there. Now, having drawn our line like that, what are we going to do next? What was the nature of this line? Let's go there and see. Now the nature of this line was, the inequality was, we want to see how the shading is done. So 6x plus 9y, okay, greater than or equal to 54. If you can really see that. Now I want to see how I'm going to shade. So I will say testing. Now how do we do the testing? The testing is done that if the line is slanting like this, okay, maybe I'll use another approach for you people to understand this better. The testing stuff may end up delaying us. Like our line is like this. This part here is above, and this part here is below. If you can look at that, let's look at those two terminologies there, above and below. Which this inequality correlates with which word there? If you can really see, that inequality correlates with what? This inequality, which is greater than or equal, correlates with the above. So it means that this above here is the one we want, not below. So below is not wanted. So we're going to shade down. I've tried to at least explain this. We're going to shade down. I've used the simplest trick. I didn't want to go into the testing issues. Okay, so we're going to shade down. Why? When you look at this inequality here, which was greater than goes with what? Goes with above. So we're going to shade down. Let's do that very fast. We shade, let's shade. So you have named the line, that is our line 6x plus 9y equals to 54. When you're writing here, please don't write inequalities, you write a line with an equal sign. So we are doing our shading slowly using our ruler. We are doing our shading slowly using our ruler. Please, you must take time and do the shading just like we are doing right there. I think you can easily see we are viewing. Then the end line you have drawn, you must as well come in and name it just like you have it right there. The shading must be done perfectly well, and the shading must be done without fear, of course. Okay, all right, good. Now there we are, finished with that. Now let's go to another line. Another line was, if you are really keen about this, another line was, okay, so another line was, okay, if I'm trying to bring this back again, it was 10x plus, okay, a 12y equals to 120. What were the coordinates? The coordinates were 0, 10, and then also the coordinates were here 12, 0. Let's go about plotting. So 0, 10 will be around here, and 12, 0 will be around here. Okay, if you're really keen. The next, you're going to do a line there. But what was the inequality? The inequality there was, just to remind you, less than or equal. So long as it's that equal, the line will just be solid. So you're going to do a line to pass through these points here. Maybe also let's learn, if the line is running like that, how are we going to do the shading? How are we going to carry out the shading? Now we look at that on this line here. Okay, I think let's also draw it, then we see how the shading is done. Okay, let's draw it, then we see how the shading is done. Okay, so we are plotting 10, 0, 0, 10, then 12, 0, like there. Then we shall get our line drawn like that. So that's our line, we have already drawn it. Now what does it mean? It means that we must also see or know how we can get this shaded. How are we going to shade? Now the inequality on this line was a 10x plus a 12y. All right, good. What was the inequality here, please? It was less than or equal to 120. Now using this line, this part here is above, this part here is above, this part here is below. You can really see that. Now below and above, this inequality goes with which one? This inequality goes with the below. So it means that we want a below. So the above is not wanted here. The inequality says we should be below. So you must shade away that other part there. Hope that kind of shading format helps you understand this. Let's get this erased off, then we do the shading. Okay, we quickly first of all name. It was 10x plus 12y equals 120. Then we do the shading as usual. The shading must be done using a ruler neatly, like just like you're seeing it right there. We do the shading without fear. The shading must be done without fear. I'm also using a ruler. If should also use a ruler, by the way, straight lines, by the way. And please, the shading must not be done using colors. I know someone maybe think about that and just like, can't I use colors here? Not really, my friend, not really, and not all that acceptable. Okay, we are getting this shaded quickly and also we're getting it shaded quickly and also okay, as fast as possible. All right, good. So we have finalized with that shading. Now what next again? Now we have this line here of y is equal to 6. Now y is equal to 6 means that you go on y-axis and look for where 6 is. Y-axis, where is 6? 6 is right here. Then how is that line now? Where the 6 is, even the demarcation tells you the line must move like this. You see how the demarcation is? The line must move like this. So what it means that the line must run like that. Like that. Simple as that. So let's see how that is done. Okay, then also maybe we can think about, okay, we have that, but remember that line was y is equal to 6, but also the inequality was y less than 6. This means that line is going to be what? Dotted. So let's have it right there. So it is a dotted line like that. Now the problem becomes, how are we going to do the shading? This inequality is less, the line is moving like this. Look at this line. Okay, allow me to put a ready ink there for you to see very well. The line runs like that. So this side here we have is above, and this side here is below, as far as that line is concerned. Now this inequality of less than goes with what? The line of less than, the inequality of less than goes with what? Goes with below. It means that the below we want it, so you must shade this side above. That's what we're going to simply do. I hope this explanation is really making some difference here, and simplify it a little bit. So y is equal to 6, then we shade above, since the inequality says we want below. Okay, we get that shaded. Please, I said use a ruler, and also use a ruler to get this shaded. Now, as why are we shading? We shade such that there is some small space which remains in the middle, which we call a feasible region, and it's from which we shall be able to get the maximum, and how we shall be able to get the maximum profits this man can get in the construction or from his buildings, of course. Now, as that shading is ongoing, let's get to the last part. Now we realize that finally we had this y is equal to, in fact not y but x is equal to 2y. Now x is equal to 2y. What are we going to do? The coordinates were 0, 0, then 2, 1, like that. Is that so? Yeah, 2, 1. So we come and plot 0, 0 is right here, 2, 1 is right here. Then you draw your line to a solid line like that. Hope you are able to see that. Let's get that done right away. So we have our coordinate here plotted, and the other one is right there. Alright, so now what we're going to have here is that we have this plotted. We must now come and join them as a result of this. Okay, we now join them using a straight line like that. Now again, let's come back and look at this. You realize that the inequality we had here was okay. Now I had x less than or equal to x less than or equal to 2y. Allow me to use the testing method here, and to test I want to use a coordinate. To test, let's use maybe 6, 0. Okay, 0, 6. Let's use 0, 6. I want to test using this one here, which is the line which is above the line. Now if it says yes, then that is the wanted region. So I want to put it in here, so that will be 0 less than or equal to 2 times 6, of which is 0 less than or equal to 12. Now just ask, is 0 less than or equal to 12? No. So it means that where you got this coordinate from is not wanted. So that's what we shall shed off straight away. That's what we shall shed off straight away. All right, so please, about the testing here, maybe I'll pardon a little bit. About the testing, I'll pardon a little bit here. So we are like, we have x less than or equal to 2y, and I want to test, maybe to test this time around, let's use the coordinate down this side. We're using a coordinate down this side, and that's 6, 0 to test. So because this one is a bit complicated, that's why I'm using that kind of way to go. Now, okay, now we are going to test, and we say, so the coordinate I picked there is a 6, 0. Now we test this, substitute. So to be now 6 less than or equal to 2 times 0. So now 6 less than or equal to, what will be the answer there? 0. Now we ask, is 6 less than 0? The answer is no. So it means that the side where you pick that coordinate is not a wanted region, so you have to shade off that part down. We shade off that part down. We shade off that part down in simple terms. Maybe on the contrary, let me sample for you this. If you have x less than or equal to 2y, let's pick a coordinate up this side. Maybe you can even pick 10, 0, like that. 0, 10, sorry. So that will be 0, 10. Substitute. Remember, this is the x value, this one is the y value. So you have 0 less than or equal to 2 times 10. So 0 less than or equal to 20. Now just ask, is 0 less than 20? Yes. So it means that where I pick that coordinate is a wanted region. So you shade it down. Let's go and see how that is done. Okay, so we do the shading, name and do the shading. X is equal to y. Then we quickly do the shading in simple terms. Okay. We do the shading in simple terms and using a ruler. Okay, so the shading is finally done. Now, are you seeing this space which is remaining in the middle? Yes. This one here is what we call a feasible region. We call that a feasible region. The space, small space which remains in the middle, we call it a feasible region. Whenever you're doing a number of linear programming, you must always make sure you have that space in the middle there. Failure to come out, then you just know things are not all that okay. All right, now we must now get what we call, now in order to find the maximum value, we must first of all come and get coordinates in the, oh, this word lower is not there. Coordinates in the, okay, this word corner is not there. Coordinates in the feasible region. So which coordinates are in this area here? Take note. The coordinates which are in this dotted line, you don't pick them. Any coordinate on the dotted line, you don't pick it. So let's come and see how this comes about. Let's get it written down. Yeah. So now the coordinates in here. Okay. We have coordinate 2, 5. Where is it? You start from here. I have 2. As we're going up. First of all here. Now that is 2, 5. 2 and 5 right here. There's a 5 here between 4 and 6. There's a 5. So 2, 5. We have it right there. If you can really see that. So again, let's move. Again, now, can 2, 5, can 2, 6 work? 2, 6, but it's on a dotted line, so you don't pick it. You don't pick that. So let's come now to 3. So 3, follow the line. 3, 5 works. 3, 5, 3, 4, even 3, 4 works. So 3, 4 will work, and even 3, 5 will work. So you have 3, 4, 3, 5. Then next we come on to this. We have a 4 here. Move there. We have this. That is a 3, another a 4, 4. We have it right there. Then continuing with the 4, since you still have more space here, 4, 5. We have it right there. Then again here 4, 6, it can't work, it is on the dotted line. We now come to 5. 5, 4 will work. we have it right there. Then 5, we have it right there. It comes out. Then 5, 6. Can 5, 6 reason out here? Yeah, 5, 5 can reason. We have it here. 5, 6 is a bit sketchy because it's just way above this side up. I don't know if you've drawn a graph how better it can come, but it doesn't qualify because this line is passing somewhere below, but again, when you go up, it is clear on the dotted line, so you may not pick it. We go to 6, so 6, 5. Now you can't pick in the shaded region here. You pick in the space, so 6, 4 will work. We have it right there, and then 6, 5 also will work. So 6, 5 is here on the line which is not dotted. Again, 6, 6 will be up. So those are the coordinates in the feasible region in simple terms. So now we must be knowing the objective function. Like, what do they want? The objective function comes from this. Simple reminder. The objective function comes from any of these. Look, the objective function comes with, since it is a cost, it can come from this, talking about shillings, and can also come from this, the objective function. But how do we tell that we're going to use this kind of objective function? Let's go there. Objective function is that equation you use to maximize or minimize. Now the question always tells you what do they want to minimize or maximize. Okay. So the equation always tells you. So we have, with the help of a Cartesian plane, advise Mr. Cartesian how to maximize monthly rent. So you're going to maximize rent. So therefore, we're going to use the objective function for rent. Let's go there. Objective function for rent. Let's go there. Oh, sorry, we have it right here. So the objective function for rent is this. Allow me clear this first of all. The objective function for rent is that charge. Remember, a single room was rented at this and that. So the inclusion having these ones here. So the one for rent is this, but on the objective function, we only pick right from here, like this. That's what we pick as our objective function, the one which you're going to use to see the maximum rent this man can achieve from how many single rooms and how many double rooms. Let's go there. Let's get there. Okay. Now let's go in the next part maybe. So next part we say objective function is equal to, so we have our table there already. So objective function is equal to, okay, of course you really remember what I gave you last time. You see, a 60,000 x plus a 90,000 y. That's our objective function. Now you shall need the coordinates here, but for me, remember, you can use all the coordinates, but for me I chose out these coordinates only. So cost is equal to that. So now we have the coordinates 5, 5, we have the coordinates 6, 4, and we have the coordinates 6, 5. Now for me, please, you can even choose to use, okay, look, in this table you can use all these coordinates here. For me, I sampled all these coordinates here and I realized the ones you can give us a maximum value is this, this, and this. But for when you're working out, if you want, you can sample using each and every coordinate here. Now if it is maximum, you come and look out for the biggest value in there. If it is minimum, you look for the smallest value in there. Okay, let's, I think, proceed. So now, after that, now the coordinates you have gotten, you substitute them into the objective function. But you remember how we got the objective function. So we're going to substitute. Remember, these ones are x values, these are y values. X, y, x, y. So we substitute. So this will be, okay, you see that 60,000 times x, but the x here is 5. You substitute, you shall get, so 60,000 times 5 plus 90,000 times 5, you get 750. Do the same for the next part. You shall get 720,000. Do the same for the next part. You shall get 810,000. So of these, which one is the biggest? The biggest is 810,000. So this one here we've done, which will maximize his profits. But it is coming from where? It is coming from a 6, 5. But you all know that a 6, 5. Okay, this one here is x, and this one here is y. But x means what? Single rooms, and y means what? Double rooms. So it means that this one must construct 6 single rooms and 5 double rooms in order to maximize, or in order to get 810, which is the maximum. So we shall say Mr. Khsisa should construct 6 single rooms and 5 double rooms in order to maximize his monthly rent. And that brings us to the end of this question in simple terms. Wish you well. See you again.